What is up, team? Welcome back to the Red Storm Rap Reaction Podcast. I'm Pat Kane. That's Cole Latshaw. And St. John's, your Red Storm just got a much-needed, big-time victory on their home court against the Villanova Wildcats, sweeping them for the first time since sometime in 1990. I'm not sure when. Spoiled Villanova night in St. John's home court arena, which is something I'd rather not discuss. But we picked a good night to have a good night defensively, and Villanova had no answers for how to get buckets and for how to stay in this game. Cole, what was your first impression of tonight's game?
Better than good night defensively, like great night defense. I think that's the best we've seen that defense look all season long so far. Nova 4 for 25 from three. One of the big things was only 24 points in the paint after giving up 52 to Marquette. Like I thought the defensive rotations looked amazing. Joel Soriano obviously had a few bummer games the last couple of games, but got back to his just absolute dominant performances, almost with his usual double-double that we expect from him. Fell just short by a rebound, but just tremendous performance down low by him. Big time win. And to, like you said, to sweep Nova for the first time, I think, since 92, 93. Like, wow. Tremendous. Yeah, tremendous.
Yeah, I think the beginning first few minutes of the game, Nova got some open threes, and I was a little bit worried about the way the zone looked. But as soon as St. John started scoring and being able to apply their pressure, a little full court action, it really stifled Villanova. And as the game went on further on, it just got tighter and tighter, and the rotations were spot on. I think we had 2 shot clock violations, a handful of great defensive efforts, and contributions pretty much all the way down the line, save a few players. But 10 guys played over 5 minutes, a 20-point win after the 3-game skid really does a lot for the confidence, I think, of these guys. And, you know, as we have seen, the margin of victory matters more so now in college basketball than it has, decades before, 5 years in the past, where that is built into the net, into your rankings, your ratings. So winning by 20 is very effective, and only losing by 1, although heartbreaking, does continue to help us in a positive direction in terms of how the committee will view us on our team sheet. So good things all around tonight, and St. John's gets a week to prepare for their next game. So don't give Coach Pitino a whole week. I don't think that's a smart idea.
Great to see Jordan Dingle get back out there. I thought he made his presence known. 12 points. I think he shot 6 of 13, but was 0 of 5 from 3. So, like, really shot pretty well besides from 3-point. But awesome to see him back. Great to hear that Naheem Aline was at least trying to give it a go and warming up before the game. Ended up being his street close, but great to hear that ankle injury isn't as bad as it originally looked. So hopefully, he can get healthy. With, again, like you just said, a week worth of rest, potentially he could be back by next Wednesday. Like that was great news. So I
thought Dingle's handle looked noticeably tighter tonight in the first half, going to the rim. Had some stretches in the first half where he was the point guard, if you will, no Jenkins or Wilcher on the court, and he kind of took the reins there. Mostly just good passing by all the 5 guys on the court. Got some good looks. There was some combinations of lineups in the first half where when they first were rolling the court, I'm not sure if many St. John's fans would say this would be a great stretch, but they ended up being some big pushes there. One, Drissa Traore had a huge few minute span in the first half, a block shot, a 3-point make. Zuby, extremely just determined to get rebounds and to set screens and to work his ass off, and has just made contributions that don't always get shown up in the box score, but it's been over and over and over again as the season has progressed. And I think we've got a really solid piece. I'm not sure if he'll ever be, 15 and 10 type of guy that we've seen Joel develop into, but those guys are extremely rare at the college level. But I think he could be a 12 and 8 guy. I think he could be an efficient guy backing up a really good center like we see now. All things considered, however it plays out, I think we're extremely happy to see what's happening for Zuby Ejiofor and some younger guys as well. Glenn Taylor Jr., another guy who's been struggling of late, had a huge first half, hit those 2 threes. The second three really pushed that lead to 15 and got the crowd really into it. Crowd sounded like they were on vacation for 20 minutes during the game, but the beginning and the end was, really loud through the television.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the things I think of every single time we play Villanova here these last couple of weeks is I worry with them being somewhat of a smaller team with Eric Dixon. I think he's only like 6'8", 6'9", and who has the ability to shoot the three, and us having big men like Joel and Zuby. I wonder if Kyle Neptune tries to sort of spread us out a little bit, and if our bigs struggle with that. Conversely, as you always point out, as I'm the pessimist and you're the eternal optimist, that sword cuts two ways, where also the smaller team has to defend our bigger guys at the other end. And Joel just continued to dominate possession after possession in this game. He just looked amazing in the paint. And to your point, Zuby has really grown and shown a lot over these last 4 or 5 games. And he just has these spurts where you see what a special player he is. I forget who was on the call last game against Marquette, but or it might have been a tweet from one of the talking heads where somebody said, like, this is the 4-star that Kansas thought they were getting, and that, Bill Self thought he was going to have, and that Rick Pitino's been able to pull that out of Zuby already. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm really excited to see. Obviously, we're excited in the season and don't want to look too far ahead, but I'm really interested to see what Rick Pitino can do with Zuby Ejiofor with like a full off season worth of preparing and his individual goals and stuff. I just think it's going to be amazing the steps forward we're going to see Zuby take next year.
And we've seen a 3 that looked pretty well, pretty sweet. And I don't want to see him take it a bunch, but you could see the stroke looked all right. And we saw a pretty nice looking drive and finish at the basket tonight, although I think we were all kind of holding our breath as that was going on. 4 guys had multiple offensive rebounds tonight. That's great effort. And, some of these smaller teams have done a good job of keeping the ball out of Soriano's hands and crowding the paint. But even when they're able to do that, where you really got to make them pay is on the offensive glass. And St. John's 4th in the country in terms of offensive rebounding. Chris Ledlam gets a lot of credit as well for really hunting down those boards. R.J. Lewis, Jordan Dingle, Soriano, all those guys had multiple offensive rebounds and just were constantly around the basketball. Glenn Taylor on the ground a few times tonight. Jordan Dingle on the ground a few times tonight. Wiltshire had a few really solid moments, those 2 mid-range jumpers. Always hustles and brings it defensively with the effort. Does have to be a little bit sharper and stronger with the basketball, for all 40 minutes or however minutes he'll be out on the court. Sometimes a little bit too lackadaisical, a little bit too loose. But I think we're seeing some signs of growth. I'm still a believer, 100%. I know he hasn't shown he hasn't had the breakout performances that some would hope to see for a, borderline 5-star freshman. But there's been continuous growth, and I think, Coach Pitino has been notorious in terms of bringing his, guards along a little bit slowly. So still got high hopes, still a big-time believer in Simeon. Remaining parts of this season and in the future. We'll see if this start will continue on.
Yeah, and I wouldn't disagree with what you just said about Simeon. I would say that depending on what Rick's looking for out of him, like, we may have seen somewhat of a breakout over the last game against Marquette. I mean, Jenkins was struggling turning the ball over. We were as a team against Marquette in the first, 8 or so minutes, until Simeon came in and really settled the team down. I don't think he had a single turnover. He struggled. I think he had 2 turnovers tonight, 1 assist. But last game, he really settled the team down, and that's why he started getting extended minutes. And I assume that, and along with maybe a solid couple of days of practice, is why he got the start today. So to your point, we haven't seen him really fill up the box score yet. I think that's just a matter of time. The talent is obviously there, but as far as being a real floor general, taking care of the ball, again, like you said, a few lackadaisical moments today. Didn't really see that last game against Marquette, but the floor general piece, I think we're seeing starting to emerge. Me and Sean each used some football analogies. I called him the game manager backup quarterback was my phrase.
Well, I'm a big fan of analogies, and I do have to apologize. I didn't get a chance to watch the game, although I did listen to Cole and Sean step it in for me. Again, big thanks to the Latshaw Bros, doing a great job. But I did miss the Marquette game, and once I unfortunately saw the score before I had a chance to watch it, I was dealing with a little bit too much heartbreak already to go ahead and watch that 1 point loss to sit through it, and I decided, forget it. So I'll just listen to the recap, look at the stats, and go from there. So apologies to Simeon, who did have a really nice game against Marquette, and who I had heard settle us down and showed some serious signs of growth. But I do think he might have a 10 to 15 point game in him at some point this season that could, really help those fans who love seeing those points on those boards, quiet down and get a little more excited for his future.
Sure. Yeah, and I think just tremendous job too. We already mentioned the defense on Villanova, but to be able to hold Mark Armstrong and Justin Moore to really keep them both super quiet on considering how well Armstrong have been playing recently, and Moore, he obviously has superstar potential. To keep them to both having super quiet nights is really tip of the hat. So
Justin Moore, I wasn't hoping he was going to have a great night tonight, but I've always been a huge fan of him, and I feel for what's happened to his career with these injuries. Especially the timing of the one in the Final Four, and then again, it got an injury this year. Just looked like a shell of his former self tonight. Really, it's tough to see, and hopefully he can recover, and hopefully he takes off some good teams other than St. John's the rest of the season. I'll be rooting for him in that sense. Big time rebounding advantage.
As an aside, can I say real quick, fuck Mark Armstrong and drilling that half-court three-pointer against UConn when I got UConn -3.5. Drill that. It cost me 100 shekels, that prick. Like, Jesus.
Oh, man. I knew there was a bad beat in there for a few people. You were on the wrong side of it, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, what do you have tonight? 2 points, 1 for 7? Yeah, I guess the betting gods took it out on him tonight. I was going to say huge rebounding advantage overall, 42-23, so plus 19 on the boards. That just goes without saying. It's going to be hard to battle against a team if you're minus 19, and thankfully St. John's is on the better side of that. Nova was only 10 assists to 11 turnovers. St. John's had 11 turnovers as well, but we had 17 assists. So a much better job sharing the basketball. Obviously, the 20-point advantage is going to show there in the terms of the assist totals. But we'll take our shooting percentage from the field, 47%, but 26% from three. Got a little lucky there might not call it lucky in terms of how Nova struggled. A lot of that is to be credited to our defense, but still 4 for 25. They had some open shots that they did miss. If they're 8 for 25, that's 12 points, and you're looking at a much closer ball game. So, that's the thing with college basketball. Sometimes shots don't go in, and you're looking at St. John's with an unfortunate 1-point loss, or sometimes shots don't go in, and you're looking at St. John's having a nice 20-point victory. Not to discredit our defense. There were some shots earlier that I thought we kind of dodged a bullet, and that allowed us to settle into a very solid defensive game plan. Who do we play a week from now, Cole? Do you know off the top of your head? I got it right here.
Xavier. I did Xavier a week from today.
Yeah, so at Xavier next Tuesday, 6:30. So, a whole close to a week for St. John's and Rick Pitino to prepare. Villanova's been playing better of late. I'm not sure who they play in between us. Maybe they have the same break as well. But interesting to see if we're able to go to the Cintas Center, a notoriously tough place to play, and get another win. Momentum. I don't know. Do you believe in it? Do you not? I know some people do. Some people don't. I myself am a believer in momentum. I'd much rather go into Xavier off this win than coming off a loss to Nova. Although, we just were coming off 3 losses and we had a 20-point win. So what's that tell you? I don't know. But I'm a believer in Uncle Mo for sure.
But answer your point, talking about giving Rick Pitino a week worth of time to prepare for somebody. Like, I think that is, if you're going to give any coach that much time to prepare when you've got one of the top 3 greatest coaches in the modern era, like, that's a good one to have on your side when you got that much time to prepare. So,
yes, sir. So, and Xavier has UConn this weekend. So a big game before us that's going to take all their prep and all their focus, whereas Rick Pitino can get to work, start cracking in the lab. That is next Wednesday. We played Xavier, 6:30 p.m. I think that's our first 6:30 week game. We've been having the late night doubleheaders, and it's been killing my sleep schedule, to be honest with you. But looking forward to not having to watch. I wish St. John's was playing Saturday, but I would have had to tape it, and then you know how that goes. I never seem to be able to successfully pull that off. So until next Wednesday, Cole, anything else you want to add?
Nah, man, go Johnnies. I think this big resume boost to now have gotten Nova twice. I feel more comfortable. One of the things me and Sean said after the Marquette loss was at some point we needed to start really building a resume for March Madness for Selection Sunday. I think having Nova on there twice along with the Utah win, I think that'll go a long way. We still have a long way to go through the rest of the Big East schedule, but I think we've got a few chips in our back pocket now that we can sit on and rely on. So,
and Nova might be right there in that same, bracket, if you will, of teams fighting for those bids, and to have two, against them could show favorably. Providence as well. Don't forget about their resume. I know we want to forget about them when, what's his name got hurt. Excuse me. Bryce Hopkins got hurt. But they had a nice road win against Seton Hall. Yeah, so we got that win against them. We got a chance to sweep them and Xavier and Butler. We got to get one of those sweeps at least, and we got to go to the road for all three of them. But we'll be battling with some teams going down the way. We've got 5 Big East wins, have yet to play Georgetown or DePaul. If you take care of business, you're already at 9 wins with a chance to really, get on the positive side of that 500 ledger. A place St. John's has so rarely been. But I'm looking forward to it each and every game. For Sean L. Scott, who I think got a mention tonight, this has been Pat Kane. That's Cole Latshaw, Red Storm Rap Reaction Podcast. Peace.